Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei One-Shot Story Collection Movie 1. Before we start, please go support White Horse 1 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Story 1. What if Issei got betrayed by girls and stole Chizuru from Kazuya? Kanojo Okarishimasu DXD. Life 1. POV. Hyoudou Issei. It's been years since my battle with Trihexa, where fortunately we came out on top. After that I decided to focus entirely on my studies. Although I think it bothered the girls even though we were just friends, it always seemed to bother them that I only thought about that. There were more problems than ever, so I decided to temporarily retire as the hero of the underworld. After all, they still have the other celestial dragon, so there wasn't much of a problem with them letting me go. They accepted my retirement, and to avoid being bothered, I decided to leave Kuoh, which did bother them a little, as you could see on their faces when I gave them the news. Dragón may have been asleep after using up most of his energy in the war, although he may have self-awareness for a short period of time. The bad thing about it all is that despite abandoning all the perverted things, I regret being almost 22 years old and still a virgin. As long as Matsuda and Madohama remain virgins, I'm happy. Although I didn't have the best friendship with them because on the way to my new city I thought about several things, and I realized that they almost always used me as bait, but I would do it with them. When I arrived at my new home, I decided on the way that I didn't want a luxurious place or anything like that, so the first thing I'll do is get a good apartment. 2 weeks later. Several weeks have passed where I think things went well at university. I quickly ran into two guys who mysteriously seemed familiar until I remembered that I knew them from preschool to high school v.
What?
During that journey, my friends introduced me to a girl named Mami Nanami, who is a beautiful girl with blonde hair, beautiful blue eyes, nice breasts, beautiful long legs, a very well-defined butt, and nice cheeks. Ooh. 2 months later. It's been 2 months since I arrived here. Dragón is finally at 100% after 23 years. Anyway, the thing is that they have contacted me sometimes to go to meetings where I have to give my opinion, and as much as I feel lazy I have to do it out of gratitude, then the girls are very attached to me since I went to Kuoh. In those 2 months I made up for lost time with Kaiba and Curie, and I've grown very fond of Mamakin as well. You could say she's the only person who can bring out my past self, the pervert. Lately, I've felt very attracted to her. My trauma with Rainier passed thanks to a psychologist, so I feel confident enough to confess my feelings. As is customary in Japan, the girl is summoned to the backyard, where the declaration would be made XD. Hello Mommy-chan, was my somewhat shy greeting to such a beautiful girl who will reject me immediately even if I have to take a risk. Hello Ice-kun, why did you summon me here? She said, a little confused, her beautiful face showing her face. You see, lately I've realized how much I love you and I wanted to ask you if you'd like to go out with me, I said, leaning forward so I wouldn't look nervous and to make it sound more formal. Okay, let's go out, she said, a beautiful smile gracing her face. 1 month later. I'm Hyoudou Issei, I'm currently 20 years old, I'm in college and I live alone in Tokyo, and yes, I have a girlfriend, I repeat, I have a girlfriend. Ooh. As she said that and smiled slightly, Mamakin turned around looking at me with a smile and her eyes closed. I'm sorry, I fell in love with someone else, let's break up, okay? She finished while I was just left in shock and I think I had a weird reaction lol, that, time skip. They dumped me, I said out loud remembering Mamakin. She was my first girlfriend ever, the one who didn't kill me, and she breaks up with me in a miserable month. Thinking that, I grabbed my phone and when I went to her Twitter profile I realized she had blocked me. Ha 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 ha, the dwarf doesn't last a minute v. Those were Dragón's words, but I just want to ignore him. TT. What, is she already doing it with the other one? I can't stand it, and why am I getting excited? Don't get up, soldier. Were the only words he could manage to say as he was in the throes of a tremendous existential crisis. I decided to pick up my cell phone again and the typical advertisement came up, but this one caught my attention. Rent-a-girlfriends. Then I start reading the ads that accompany it. Start your dream, choose your ideal girlfriend, only 5,000 yen an hour. It was all for nothing. Kaya. My mind can only think of mommy being defiled by someone else. I could only hold my crotch because I was strangely excited. I'm fed up were the words I said when I could no longer bear my emotional instability. I decided to focus on my studies and ended up falling in love. I'm fed up with everything. All I saw on my screen was the catalog of newbies. The following morning, what the hell do I do? Out of sheer stress, I hired a rental girlfriend, although after thinking about it, it wasn't such a good idea. She'll probably look awful without the filters. Orange shirt and striped pants, a girl said as she approached me. You're Issei-kun, right? Time skip, cafeteria. Are you in college? What grade are you in? The beautiful girl asked in a very kind tone of voice. First, I said a little nervously. Really, me too, she said with a beautiful smile. I just took a gap year, I said as I watched him grab the menu. Oh, so you're older, she said, turning the menu over. Good heavens. Damn, how beautiful. Whoever her boyfriend is will be very lucky. I finished saying, looking at the ceiling. Would you mind? He said, extending his hands. Apparently he already wanted his pay. Go to hell, slasher a jerk, were my words, just like D-Drake's. Seeing her, I could only remember Mamakin's face. Ah yes, I said as I reached into my pocket and pulled out the 5,000 yen. Damn, I want to leave already, I said, handing him the 5,000 yen. After that we went to the aquarium where it looked fun entertaining. The appointment is going according to the plan I sent you. Planning a date is such a drag. When we dragons ask someone out, we usually did everything on the fly. Were the words of the red dragon. Yes, but imagine they were dragons, not humans. You're a dragon, don't be a jerk, I'd better go to sleep, you wash it. I've never been to an aquarium before, she said with a beautiful smile. My eggs, he's obviously been to an aquarium before. Those are so beautiful over there, she said, looking at the fish with longing. Really, they're glowworms, I said, looking at the fish she was watching with such excitement. Do you know a lot about fish? She asked me with a tender look. A little. I used to visit aquariums, I said, for some reason a little embarrassed. Wow, she said with surprise happiness. It was a rare emotion. How lucky that my first visit to an aquarium was with you. Hours passed until night fell and I accompanied her to the city center. We were walking together until she decided to take my hand. Even though I've done this with Rias or Aquino, this girl has something special because unlike the others, I actually blushed with her v. I accompanied her to the train station where she let go of me to say goodbye. I had so much fun today, thank you, see you later, Issei-kun. I simply watched her go down the stairs. She's simply beautiful. U-time skip, Issei's house. The first thing I checked when I arrived was the thread about Chizuru Mizuhara. What? I held her hand too. It started out serious, then I had fun. If we see each other, she'll give you 1,000 years of life. I'm glad I'm not the only one, there are many of us. Go buck yourself, just tell me I'm adopted or that the three factions want to betray me and take D-Drag away, you son of a bitch. I got angry and started speaking in several accents XD. I don't know what you expected, idiot. She's a rental girlfriend obviously. You're not the only one, she does the same to everyone. It was all a lie. Holding hands is part of their routine at the end. How can I play with my heart? I then grabbed my phone to give it a star and my opinion, the silly girl didn't even know about basic fish. I didn't even finish writing because I opened an envelope containing my tight budget since that's how I asked for it. I have to tell her a couple of things, I said angrily and rented her for a week later. Time skip. Hi Issei-kun, I was fixing my hair, she said while looking beautiful. Why the hell is the girl I was talking about so beautiful? I was worried you wouldn't like it, what do you think? He said looking at me with a smile. I could just stare at her stupidly because she is incredibly beautiful. I don't dislike it, was all I could say. What a relief. A blow hurt less. We were in the cafe again and I paid him 5,000 yen again. Hey, don't you feel empty inside, going on dates with guys you don't know and getting money in return? I could only see her face looking confused, though I still wanted her to answer my question. No, I like this job, it allows me to meet people like Issei-kun. I honestly felt both a pang of sadness and a stab wound from his blatant lie. Time skip. Just one bag for the newlyweds. A girl said at the flea market. Here you go. We're not married. As I said that, Mizuhara grabbed my arm. We're dating. Mizuhara said with a radiant smile. All I could do was lower my head and whisper in a cold tone, we're not even that. Although it seems he heard me, we're strangers, aren't we? Technically, I said, turning my face away, though I could see him looking at me with a confused expression. I'm coming, I'll separate your purchases then. As I said that, all I could see was Mizuhara lower her head as her beautiful hair covered half her face. You've already made her angry, said D-Drag, and I think he's right, his expression changed out of nowhere. Yes, we can be whatever you want, she told me while smiling. Look, Issei-kun, those are glowworm tetras, aren't they? I asked excitedly while we were in the aquarium. Yes, I replied heavily, how lovely. She replied somewhat cheerfully, looking at the fish. Garden eagle's hide, wow, I'll do some research on that, it seems she studied for today's date. That's enough, I said, not knowing what to say because I was frustrated. What are you trying to achieve? My voice trailed off and I ended up saying it out loud. Are you trying to be professional? It's pointless, these are just one-night stands. I said, already frustrated, and people turned to look at me and I could only see Mizuhara's scared face. What's wrong, Issei-kun? She asked, clearly worried, or at least that's how she pretended to be. They break up immediately, they don't care about each other's feelings. I said that last part almost shouting and I could see her face go from scared to slightly angry. I could only watch as people looked at us while whispering. Come with me for a moment, Mizuhara said as she held my hand. I could only be in my own world thinking that I looked like a complete idiot. He took me out of the aquarium, leading me to the back. All I could see was how tired I was, breathing heavily. Hey, you. Suddenly, her adorable expression shifted to a serious and angry one. What's wrong with you? Are you an idiot or what? Everyone was staring at us while you were yelling in public. What's with you? What's with feeling empty or acting like we're strangers? Are you missing a screw? I'm your rental girlfriend, that's how this works. Didn't you call me? You read the terms and conditions before agreeing, didn't you? She said, clearly frustrated. Yes, sorry. I said, a little nervous because I was acting differently than usual. Why did you only give me 1 star? What did I do wrong on the date? You say, somewhat furious, while all you can do is shake your head. You lowered my average to 0.3. I had a perfect streak of 5 stars. Well, there she is, the real Chizuru Mizuhara. She's a completely different person, although I must say that. Will you stop making my job so difficult? I can't believe it. Damn, I guess I'll get another 1-star review. Sorry, it's my fault. What do we do now? Do you want to continue? I'll keep you company if you'd like. I just finished and received a call, lol. Hello, what's up? We haven't finished talking. Mizuhara shouted at me. What? Seriously, I'm on my way. I quickly hung up and looked at Mizuhara so she wouldn't get too angry. My grandma fainted. What? I don't know if the surprise is real or feigned because he's still on duty. I should have left, I said while talking to Drake about whether to go by train or fly. Hey, there's still time on the date. She said, quickly following me to the train station. Enpav Issei, time skip, Itabashi 3rd Hospital. Don't worry, I just fainted, said Grandma Hyoudou while sitting on the hospital bed. Of course we're worried, said the chestnut-haired boy's mother as she looked at the grandmother with concern. Mom, you know very well that you're not a young woman anymore. We can't close the store, said Goro Hyoudou, looking worried at his mother. Although so, who is the girl? Asked the grandmother, looking at Chizuru. At that moment, they could only look surprised and worried. I brought her because she was with Issei. Are you 2 university classmates? The brunette's mother said, looking at the girl. Well, Chizuru looked somewhat uncomfortable with the question, so she turned to look at Issei to see if he had an answer. Aren't you going to be his girlfriend? The mother asked, while the father just looked at her and said. What are you talking about? We're talking about Issei, she said, her voice filled with a sense of depression. Yes, he's our Issei, said the mother, echoing the father. Issei, said the grandmother. The chestnut-haired man quickly turned to look at her, blushing and nervous. My girlfriend, the brunette said while Drake just said, he should have a plumber nearby because the son of a bitch always screws things up. She's my girlfriend, the Sekiryuutei said with determination. They told him he couldn't be any more of an idiot and the son of a bitch took it as a challenge. Upon hearing that, everyone was surprised. Mizuhara was in shock while her parents were utterly astonished and her grandmother was in complete shock. Issei, embarrassed, turns to look at Mizuhara, who, as always, looks beautiful. She simply calms down, stands up, and formally introduces herself. Nice to meet you. My name is Chizuru Mizuhara. She said with an aura that made anyone fall in love, the personification of beauty. The end. POV. Hyoudou Issei. It's been years since my battle with Trihexa, where fortunately we came out on top. After that I decided to focus entirely on my studies. Although I think it bothered the girls even though we were just friends, it always seemed to bother them that I only thought about that. There were more problems than ever, so I decided to temporarily retire as the hero of the underworld. After all, they still have the other celestial dragon, so there wasn't much of a problem with them letting me go. They accepted my retirement, and to avoid being bothered, I decided to leave Kuoh, which did bother them a little, as you could see on their faces when I gave them the news. Drake may have been asleep after using up most of his energy in the war, although he may have self-awareness for a short period of time. The bad thing about it all is that despite abandoning all the perverted things, I regret being almost 22 years old and still a virgin. As long as Matsuda and Madohama remain virgins, I'm happy, although I didn't have the best friendship with them because on the way to my new city I thought about several things and I realized that they almost always used me as bait, but mess, I would do it with them. When I arrived at my new home, I decided on the way that I didn't want a luxurious place or anything like that, so the first thing I'll do is get a good apartment. 2 weeks later. Several weeks have passed where I think things went well at university. I quickly ran into 2 guys who mysteriously seemed familiar, until I remembered that I knew them from preschool to high school V. During that journey, my friends introduced me to a girl named Mami Nanami, who is a beautiful girl with blonde hair, beautiful blue eyes, nice breasts, beautiful long legs, a very well-defined butt, and nice cheeks. Ooh. 2 months later. It's been 2 months since I arrived here. Drake is finally at 100% after 23 years. Anyway, the thing is that they have contacted me sometimes to go to meetings where I have to give my opinion, and as much as I feel lazy I have to do it out of gratitude, then the girls are very attached to me since I went to Kuoh. In those 2 months I made up for lost time with Kaib and Curie, and I've grown very fond of Mamikin as well. You could say she's the only person who can bring out my past self, the pervert. Lately, I've felt very attracted to her. My trauma with Rainier passed thanks to a psychologist, so I feel confident enough to confess my feelings. As is customary in Japan, the girl is summoned to the backyard, where the declaration would be made XD. Hello mommy-chan, was my somewhat shy greeting to such a beautiful girl who will reject me immediately even if I have to take a risk. Hello Iskun, why did you summon me here? She said, a little confused, her beautiful face showing her face. You see, lately I've realized how much I love you and I wanted to ask you if you'd like to go out with me, I said, leaning forward so I wouldn't look nervous and to make it sound more formal. Okay, let's go out, she said, a beautiful smile gracing her face. 1 month later. I'm Hyoudou Issei, I'm currently 20 years old, I'm in college and I live alone in Tokyo and yes, I have a girlfriend, I repeat, I have a girlfriend ooh. As she said that and smiled slightly, Mamakin turned around looking at me with a smile and her eyes closed. I'm sorry, I fell in love with someone else, let's break up, okay? She finished while I was just left in shock and I think I had a weird reaction lol, that, time skip. They dumped me, I said out loud remembering Mamakin's. She was my first girlfriend ever, the one who didn't kill me, and she breaks up with me in a miserable month. Thinking that, I grabbed my phone and when I went to her Twitter profile I realized she had blocked me. Ha 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 ha, the dwarf doesn't last a minute v. Those were D-Drake's words but I just want to ignore him TT. What, is she already doing it with the other one? I can't stand it, and why am I getting excited, don't get up soldier. Were the only words he could manage to say as he was in the throes of a tremendous existential crisis. I decided to pick up my cell phone again and the typical advertisement came up, but this one caught my attention. Rent-a-girlfriends. Then I start reading the ads that accompany it. Start your dream, choose your ideal girlfriend, only 5,000 yen an hour. It was all for nothing. Kaya. My mind can only think of mommy being defiled by someone else. I could only hold my crotch because I was strangely excited. I'm fed up were the words I said when I could no longer bear my emotional instability. I decided to focus on my studies and ended up falling in love. I'm fed up with everything. All I saw on my screen was the catalog of newbies. The following morning, what the hell do I do? Out of sheer stress, I hired a rental girlfriend, although after thinking about it, it wasn't such a good idea. She'll probably look awful without the filters. Orange shirt and striped pants, a girl said as she approached me. You're Issei-kun, right? Time skip, cafeteria. Are you in college? What grade are you in? The beautiful girl asked in a very kind tone of voice. First, I said a little nervously. Really, me too, she said with a beautiful smile. I just took a gap year, I said as I watched him grab the menu. Oh, so you're older, she said, turning the menu over. Good heavens. Damn, how beautiful. Whoever her boyfriend is will be very lucky. I finished saying, looking at the ceiling. Would you mind? He said, extending his hands. Apparently he already wanted his pay. Go to hell slasher a jerk, were my words just like D-Drake's. Seeing her, I could only remember Mamakin's face. Oh yes, I said as I reached into my pocket and pulled out the 5,000 yen. Damn, I want to leave already, I said, handing him the 5,000 yen. After that we went to the aquarium where it looked fun, entertaining. The appointment is going according to the plan I sent you. Planning a date is such a drag. When we dragons asked someone out, we usually did everything on the fly. Were the words of the red dragon. Yes, but imagine they were dragons, not humans. You're a dragon, don't be a jerk, I'd better go to sleep, you wash it. I've never been to an aquarium before, she said with a beautiful smile. My eggs, he's obviously been to an aquarium before. Those are so beautiful over there, she said, looking at the fish with longing. Really? They're glowworms, I said, looking at the fish she was watching with such excitement. Do you know a lot about fish? She asked me with a tender look. A little. I used to visit aquariums, I said, for some reason a little embarrassed. Wow, she said with surprise happiness. It was a rare emotion. How lucky that my first visit to an aquarium was with you. Hours passed until night fell and I accompanied her to the city center. We were walking together until she decided to take my hand. Even though I've done this with Rias or Aquino, this girl has something special because unlike the others, I actually blushed with her v. I accompanied her to the train station where she let go of me to say goodbye. I had so much fun today, thank you, see you later Issei-kun. I simply watched her go down the stairs. She's simply beautiful. Time skip, Issei's house. The first thing I checked when I arrived was the thread about Chizuru Mizuhara. I held her hand too. It started out serious, then I had fun. If we see each other, she'll give you 1,000 years of life. I'm glad I'm not the only one, there are many of us. Go buck yourself, just tell me I'm adopted or that the 3 factions want to betray me and take D-Drake away, you son of a bitch. I got angry and started speaking in several accents XD. I don't know what you expected, idiot. She's a rental girlfriend obviously. You're not the only one, she does the same to everyone. It was all a lie, holding hands is part of their routine at the end. How can I play with my heart? I then grabbed my phone to give it a star and my opinion the silly girl didn't even know about basic fish. I didn't even finish writing because I opened an envelope containing my tight budget since that's how I asked for it. I have to tell her a couple of things, I said angrily and rented her for a week later. Time skip. Hi Icekun, I was fixing my hair, she said while looking beautiful. Why the hell is the girl I was talking about so beautiful? I was worried you wouldn't like it. What do you think? He said, looking at me with a smile. I could just stare at her stupidly because she is incredibly beautiful. I don't dislike it, was all I could say. What a relief. A blow hurt less. We were in the cafe again and I paid him 5,000 yen again. Hey, don't you feel empty inside, going on dates with guys you don't know and getting money in return? I could only see her face looking confused, though I still wanted her to answer my question. No, I like this job, it allows me to meet people like Icekun. I honestly felt both a pang of sadness and a stab wound from his blatant lie. Time skip, just one bag for the newlyweds. A girl said at the flea market. Here you go. We're not married. As I said that, Mizuhara grabbed my arm. We're dating. Mizuhara said with a radiant smile. All I could do was lower my head and whisper in a cold tone, we're not even that. Although it seems he heard me, we're strangers, aren't we? Technically, I said, turning my face away, though I could see him looking at me with a confused expression. I'm coming, I'll separate your purchases then. As I said that, all I could see was Mizuhara lower her head as her beautiful hair covered half her face. You've already made her angry, said Dragón, and I think he's right, his expression changed out of nowhere. Yes, we can be whatever you want, she told me while smiling. Look, Icekun, those are glowworm tetras, aren't they? I asked excitedly while we were in the aquarium. Yes, I replied heavily. How lovely. She replied somewhat cheerfully, looking at the fish. Garden eagle's hide, wow, I'll do some research on that, it seems she studied for today's date. Well, that's enough, I said, not knowing what to say because I was frustrated. What are you trying to achieve? My voice trailed off and I ended up saying it out loud. Are you trying to be professional? It's pointless, these are just one-night stands. I said, already frustrated, and people turned to look at me and I could only see Mizuhara's scared face. What's wrong, Icekun? She asked, clearly worried, or at least that's how she pretended to be. They break up immediately. They don't care about each other's feelings. I said that last part almost shouting, and I could see her face go from scared to slightly angry. I could only watch as people looked at us while whispering. Come with me for a moment, Mizuhara said as she held my hand. I could only be in my own world thinking that I looked like a complete idiot. He took me out of the aquarium, leading me to the back. All I could see was how tired I was, breathing heavily. Hey you, suddenly her adorable expression shifted to a serious and angry one. What's wrong with you? Are you an idiot or what? Everyone was staring at us while you were yelling in public. What's with you? What's with feeling empty or acting like we're strangers? Are you missing a screw? I'm your rental girlfriend, that's how this works. Didn't you call me? You read the terms and conditions before agreeing, didn't you? She said, clearly frustrated. Yes, sorry. I said, a little nervous because I was acting differently than usual. Why did you only give me 1 star? What did I do wrong on the date? You say, somewhat furious, while all you can do is shake your head. You lowered my average to 0.3. I had a perfect streak of 5 stars. There she is, the real Chizuru Mizuhara. She's a completely different person, although I must say that. Will you stop making my job so difficult? I can't believe it. Damn, I guess I'll get another 1-star review. Sorry, it's my fault. What do we do now? Do you want to continue? I'll keep you company if you'd like. I just finished and received a call, lol. Hello, what's up? We haven't finished talking. Mizuhara shouted at me. What? Seriously, I'm on my way. I quickly hung up and looked at Mizuhara so she wouldn't get too angry. My grandma fainted. What? I don't know if the surprise is real or feigned because he's still on duty. I should have left, I said while talking to Dragón about whether to go by train or fly. Hey, there's still time on the date, she said, quickly following me to the train station. En Pavise, time skip, Itabashi 3rd Hospital. Don't worry, I just fainted, said Grandma Hyoudou while sitting on the hospital bed. Of course we're worried, said the chestnut-tired boy's mother as she looked at the grandmother with concern. Mom, you know very well that you're not a young woman anymore. We can't close the store, said Goro Hyoudou, looking worried at his mother. Although so, who is the girl? Asked the grandmother, looking at Chizuru. At that moment, they could only look surprised and worried. I brought her because she was with Issei. Are you 2 university classmates? The brunette's mother said, looking at the girl. Well, Chizuru looked somewhat uncomfortable with the question, so she turned to look at Issei to see if he had an answer. Aren't you going to be his girlfriend? The mother asked while the father just looked at her and said. What are you talking about? We're talking about Issei, she said, her voice filled with a sense of depression. Yes, he's our Issei, said the mother, echoing the father. Issei, said the grandmother. The chestnut-tired man quickly turned to look at her, blushing and nervous. My girlfriend, the brunette said while Dragón just said, he should have a plumber nearby because the son of a bitch always screws things up. She's my girlfriend, the Sekiryuutei said with determination. They told him he couldn't be any more of an idiot, and the son of a bitch took it as a challenge. Upon hearing that, everyone was surprised. Mizuhara was in shock while her parents were utterly astonished, and her grandmother was in complete shock. Issei, embarrassed, turns to look at Mizuhara, who as always looks beautiful. She simply calms down, stands up, and formally introduces herself. Nice to meet you. My name is Chizuru Mizuhara, she said with an aura that made anyone fall in love, the personification of beauty. The end. Years earlier, 1.5 years. 2017. Hey D-Drag, I was thinking of sending an entry to the Red Bull regional competition. What do you think? The brunette asked, lying on his bed, asking his friend. It's up to you, but if you qualify, what will you wear? Asked the celestial dragon. Well, years ago I had a friend who was a big fan of that, and unfortunately he passed away. I'd like to call myself Walls in honor of his last name, Pairds, said the brunette as he grabbed his cell phone to send proof. Months later. Issei, have more confidence in yourself, were the words of the beautiful Rias Gremory, supporting her pawn from the stands as she saw him qualify for the Red Bull Regional, and in the first round he was to face the 2014 world champion. Do they respond to the rhythm? Well, I've beaten the world champion, it's just that Red Bull is having trouble accepting it, Issei said, winning the battle with that rhyme in one fell swoop. 1 year later. Mid-2018. Icekun, good luck in your 5th round. If you win without a rematch you will get a prize. Were Aquino's words upon seeing Issei in FMS Spain, the top freestyle league. It should be clarified, I made this small arc because I was listening to music and got the idea of Issei's walls, but to make him in his singing stage I had to do the freestyler one first. I don't know how something that started as a hobby ended up as my job now. Between my earnings from the underworld and those from freestyle, I'm killing it financially, Issei said, watching his teammates battle from the sidelines. Cheer up, shorty, you're the rookie of the year, everyone's eyes are on you, you're the biggest prospect right now, if you keep this up next season you can be league champion, said D-Drag, supporting Issei. That's what I don't want, the eyes of the underworld are upon me like the Sekiryuutei, and here I am as the rap prodigy, Issei said as he was called to battle. Months later. 2018. I don't really feel like fighting D-Drag. I just had an argument with the president, and besides my teammates looked down on me along with Irina, Issei said in the bathroom. Hours before arriving at the league, Issei had argued with Rias about what she meant to him. Partner, I think you should try to distance yourself a bit from the Gremories. They distract you in battles and training. Focus on this battle. You're up against Hyoudou, the leader, you're only 3 points away from catching him. You're right, he told me to focus on the battle. Waddles. Yes, they left me, things were rough. Your girlfriend might have the biggest ass and the biggest tits. But she likes Hyoudou and she doesn't give a damn about Sergio. I always tell you this when I improvise. Your girlfriend sent you a DM to contact you, saying I love your battle with Xeno. You've talked about my personal issues, your cousin. You're going to win the battle but you'll lose a friend. Minutes later. I don't feel comfortable saying that, but I'm talking about my personal issues. The deluxe version is all that's missing, and everything indicates it will be a rebuttal. You're standing out more for your age than for your talent, so your worst enemy is going to be the passage of time. Hours later. Your worst enemy will be the passage of time. Is this just temporary, and will a better prospect come along later? Will that prospect take me out of the game? Could it be BNet? Yes, he's leading the promotion, he's the national champion. Hours had passed where Issei lost his battle with a rematch and Hyoudu's words had stuck with him. League final. FMS España Season 2 18-19. Jornada 9s. Wait, he's been talking about my body, about my scars for a damn half hour. He's got an amazing body, he's had it since he was a kid, from the roots of his body. But what good are having such big calves, such big biceps? If in the end your words don't back up anything you say. Well, this was the end of the league, I'm satisfied with my runner-up finish, Issei said on the plane back to Kuoh. Well, now that FMS Spain is over, get out of here, that's just wasting your time, were the words the brunette heard as soon as he entered the house. It's not even your dream, stop chasing something where you'll get nothing. You're a 2-time regional champion, national BDM champion, 3rd and 4th place nationally, and national FMS runner-up. Tell me, Issei, which of those is important? You're just chasing something where you won't achieve anything. Be more serious, you're 19 years old now, said Goro Hyoudou, looking at Issei, who was just in shock. But. The brunette couldn't say anything as he visualized, and on the stairs he saw the girls of the Gremory clan. But nothing, call the organization now and say that you are leaving your position and retiring from music, said the father, more serious than ever. Why would I do it? Maybe it's not my dream, but now I love it, I want to stay in this longer, it's my decision, I'm an adult now after all, said the brunette, looking at the ground because he couldn't see his parents while he contradicted them. You're of legal age, but as long as you live here you're subject to our rules. What if I don't want to live here anymore? If they don't like my work, I'll just leave. I'll stay here until I find a house in Tokyo. I want to be as far away as possible from the people who don't support me, Issei said, walking past his parents and the girls. Sometime later. FMS Spain Season 3 begins. I have my rematch with Zasco in a few weeks, and I still haven't found a house. And what if you're looking for an apartment? That's true, but to avoid upsetting my parents, I'll tell them I'm leaving for another reason. Hours later. Goro Miki, I'm sorry about what happened a while ago, but I decided to go to Tokyo to continue my studies at university. Weeks later. Well, I've arrived in Tokyo, time to look for a house, said the brunette as he grabbed his suitcases and left the airport. You're such a jerk, you don't need to study to be an idiot, and you seem like a teacher, seriously dude. Sometimes I doubt someone can be that stupid, but then I think of you and I rule that out. Nah, hick, you eat. Thank you so much for everything, Sirzechs-sama. I will continue my studies at the University of Tokyo. Did she believe me? After all, the underworld hardly supported me in that anyway. I've already retired as a Sekiryuutei and I'll only help them when I can. Besides, they have Valeria, the boy said as he arrived at an apartment building. It's perfect. At the moment, it's hard for me to look at my parents after I lied to them, especially after lying to them about Chizuru being my partner when I'm broken inside. I left to get away from those who didn't support me and to rebuild myself as a person. Because of that, my sensitive side stayed behind. Thinking about it, I should erase that after all. It caused me so many problems, and still having it inside me has caused problems now with Chizuru, and I've involved her in something that's none of her business, Issei thought as he remembered that he hadn't seen his parents for months, and the FMS Day 2 was coming up soon and he couldn't think about so many things at once. Present. When Mizuhara finished introducing herself, Issei's parents were in total shock. Honestly, sometimes I wonder if you enter a tournament for idiots, whether you win or lose, were Drake's words. Splendid were the words of Issei's parents upon seeing such a beautiful woman as Issei's partner. I wonder how the girls will react when they see that Issei already has a partner, Hyoudou thought. I'm sorry we had to meet you under these circumstances, but it's a pleasure, the girl said, bowing cordially. Get me out of here. Issei's grandmother cried. We were supposed to go home and have a party. As she said this, Issei's parents tried to calm her down while Mizuhara just watched in surprise. Issei just brought us a bombshell with a great body, said the grandmother, and since she had no knowledge of Rias and her entourage, in her eyes Mizuhara was the most beautiful girl Issei had ever introduced her to. Can you believe it? Our Issei, said the grandmother through tears of happiness v mother. While this was happening, Issei just had a poker face while inside he was regretting what he did. It's beautiful. Do you know what this means? It's Issei. After 20 years without showing any signs of having a love life, our Issei finally has a girlfriend. Issei, come here for a bit, said Issei's mother so that he and his father could go out into the hallway. Chizuru was a little curious and turned to look at the grandmother who signaled her to go and listen. What happened? The brunette asked, looking somewhat seriously at his parents. Tell us, have you decided to give up your little dream? Said Goro while Issei just stared at the ground and Chizuru was confused. Why do you want me to quit? I'm doing well, I have my second day in a few days, Issei said angrily. Understand, if you stay there you won't achieve anything, they said, looking at the brunette. Why do you interfere so much in my life? You've had your own lives, I'm an adult now, I'm not under your roof anymore, just let me get on with this, Issei said, looking at the ground. And we'll go back to the store. Take care of your grandmother and accompany your girlfriend home, Goro said, looking seriously at Issei. By the way, you two, have you had hex yet? That question made them both spit out some of their tea. Not with her, Issei whispered, though both of them heard him. What did you say, Issei? Asked Grandma. Nothing, I was just thinking out loud, was the brunette's excuse. Well, physical compatibility matters a lot in marriage, said the grandmother as she looked seriously at Issei and Mizuhara. In short, he wants them to have hex already or his marriage is going to be worthless in a month, said Drake. Marriage, said the brunette, surprised and blushing, looking at both girls. Issei and I have been talking about it, Chizuru said, while the brunette only grew more surprised. We want to do things properly. Since he's the firstborn of the family, we want to have his approval first, Chizuru said, pretending to blush. Oh my god, I barely lasted a month in a relationship and you're lying and saying you want to get married, Issei said, remembering his ex. She improvises much better than you, and she's not even the Red Bull Regional Champion, BDM Valencia Champion, or the FMS Spain runner-up. Go to hell. Where is it? After all, that's where your ex sent you. Go ahead, you have my blessing, whenever and wherever you want, said the grandmother, pulling the boy from his thoughts. Grandmother, well, I guess we could, Chizuru said, blushing as she looked at Issei. He's just acting, remember that he doesn't really love you, Issei thought, letting his hopes fade. Oh yes, I'll go get the other old ladies. I said I would introduce them to my grandson's girlfriend, said the grandmother as she left the room. What's going on? The girl asked, somewhat confused. This is the third time she's been hospitalized here. She's made several friends, Issei said, a little embarrassed. Oh no, what do I do? Mizuhara exclaimed, jumping up from her seat. Why are you getting upset? The boy asked, confused. She's here. My grandmother is also in this place. She doesn't know anything about rental brides. The girl said, frightened and looking down. That's bad, isn't it? Issei said, sounding a little worried. That's exactly what I said, idiot. I have to get out of here before my grandma gets here. The girl said, leaving the room. As she left, she saw that the grandmothers were already arriving, so she grabbed Issei and took him to a room by herself. Just a matter of time before they find us, the girl said at the door while Issei was looking at the bed. So what do we do? I know we have to go out one at a time, said the Sekiryuutei while he had many things on his mind. Finally, you have a good idea, said Mizuhara, but just as they were about to leave, they heard the voices of the old women by the door. Come on, the girl said as she pulled the brunette's arm and they lay down together on the bed covered with the hospitalized blanket. Issei. We're in a very bad position, the chestnut-haired man said. Lower your voice, idiot, they're going to describe us, said the blushing girl. Even if you ask me, I'm in one of the worst crises of my life. Issei thought, what's wrong with him? She said in a slightly loud voice looking at Issei. Which of the two heads XD? Said Dragón. It's not my fault, he said looking at Issei. You can still enjoy my 16 cm BV, the boy said. It's a physical characteristic of any man. Issei explained, get off that thing right now. Mizuhara said, blushing furiously. If you keep this up, I'll respect you at the agency. Don't move, Chizuru, you'll only make it worse and raise it even more, the boy said. Are you all right? Asked Issei's grandmother looking at the lump in the bed. Chizuru let out a small moan as she felt Issei's powerful 18 cm erection harder than ever. I'm fine, the girl said, blushing intensely. I see, by the way, haven't you seen a couple of college students? The woman asked. I think I heard them say they were leaving the hospital, he said as the grandmother left. Her body is so slender and smooth, the boy thought as he moved closer to Mizuhara. Don't even dream about it. Mizuhara said, kicking Issei with his powerful 18 cm. The kick was so strong that it sent him flying to the other side of the room. Go away, I haven't been hit this hard since Kaneko. Issei said, holding his privates. Are you Chizuru? Said an elderly woman entering the room in a wheelchair. That's it, the sausage is done for, said Dragón. Your jokes aren't funny, you idiot, especially now that my children have just been killed. He said, still on the ground. Grandma, Mizuhara said, looking at her grandmother. How expensive it would be to go live in Spain. Was Issei's thought. What's wrong, Ikko's Kazuya? Said the grandmother looking at the chestnut-haired boy. I should leave here without saying anything. Issei thought, seeing that he now had no escape. Wait, what? Does that mean your grandson's girlfriend is Chizuru? Really? Ikkono said in surprise, looking at both boys. I'm definitely going to Spain, and not just for a day, I'm definitely going to live there. I still have to do something. Sorry, Grandma, I don't really have. The boy didn't finish as Chizuru grabbed his arm and hugged him. If you don't want to continue the lie, why the hell do you continue it? That's why you prefer to screw with dragons who didn't know what was up with their lives. That's a phrase from a potential rapist, Dragón. What? My grandmother and Kazuya's grandmother are friends. What a coincidence, it must be destiny. The girl said nervously, hours later. Hours had passed since the incident and only Chizuru and Issei were sitting on a bench outside the hospital where Issei looked depressed and Chizuru looked a little annoyed. My grandmother always struggled to make something of herself, even after my grandfather passed away. Can I even be called a good person? I've always been a grandma's boy. Before she died, I was trying to fulfill her dream, but I still haven't managed it, to have a girlfriend. Actually, I was in a relationship with a girl for a month, but when I told her I wanted to introduce her to my grandmother, she refused and broke up with me. In my desperation, I ended up using you. It's pathetic, isn't it? It was cowardly of me. I don't know if there's such a thing as a person who can call themselves truly charming and then choose to hide things about themselves, Issei said, his gaze lowered as he sat. There's a black hole in everyone's heart. We use things like work or relationships to make ourselves feel loved and distract ourselves from that hole, the beautiful girl said, looking seriously at the brunette. But more importantly, what are you going to do? You're going to have a hard time from now on. Are you planning to rent me out every time? She said, leaning in. That's impossible, don't worry, they'll describe it soon enough. I can't always depend on you even now. That ex-girlfriend is the only one I can think about. I liked her so much, and what happened to her? I thought I could forget her soon, but I've decided to take this experience with you. I'll make sure to apologize to my grandmother. One day I'll introduce her to a real girlfriend so she can finally be proud of me. From now on, with my own confidence, I'll introduce her to someone as lovely as you, but I can't rent you out on my own, can I? Issei finished, smiling as he looked at Mizuhara. She just smiled as she approached the brunette, and when she was close enough to the boy, she simply slapped him hard. And why was that? Issei shouted angrily and in surprise. Ha 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 ha, a woman will hit you XD, whipped V. You damn rude boy, don't drag me into your embarrassing monologue. I'm just finishing up the aquarium thing. Everything you do is an act. You play with people's feelings. That's my job. That's how it's supposed to be. Mizuhara yelled, glaring at Issei. I don't really understand the feeling of wanting to please your family, but whatever, but if you feel cowardly again, just call me, the now cheerful girl said, smiling at the brunette. After that, he simply left without looking back while Issei just stared at the floor. How is it possible that just because I have a girlfriend, I'm now the pride of my family? I've achieved more than anyone in my entire bloodline, and they never paid any attention to me, just because I'm a pervert and pursue a dream that wasn't even mine in the first place, Issei said. His head bowed as tears began to stream down his face. How is it possible that they're proud of me because of a girl? I'm a two-time champion, a BDM champion, a runner-up, they don't know yet, but I've saved the underworld on several occasions and I'm still not the pride of the family, he said, wiping away his tears and standing up. End. Life 3. After those events, Issei had decided to fulfill his grandmother's dream of bringing her a girlfriend. The next day. After all, Issei was at university with his friends, and while walking they encountered a girl with glasses. What? Were the words of both young men upon seeing each other. Just as Issei was about to say the girl's name, one of his friends spoke to him. Do you know her? Asked his half-bald friend V. Oh no, I just mistook her for someone else, it's nothing important, said the brunette as the girl ran off. What was all that about? Said his bald friend, watching the girl run away. I think she should study literature, said Curie, another of the brunette's childhood friends. Did we have someone like that here? Yes, there are those who don't want to stand out, the one with glasses says, turning his gaze back to Issei. I can't wait for tomorrow to see how Chudy gets you, V. Said the dragon, reminding Issei that he had to leave that night. So, what was that reaction? The bald man said, looking at Issei. As if I could say she's my rental girlfriend. I already told you I mistook her for someone else. The boy finished, watching his friends turn away. I got excited for nothing, said the boy, leaving the place with Curie. Trying to catch girls' eyes and act like you know them, that's why you're a virgin, Curie said, walking away. I hope they get graped on the way, Issei said, separating from them to go to his classes. That girl gave off a similar aura. Could she have been Chizuru Mizuhara, the rental girlfriend? A while later. See you, good luck with the rapping horse, Curie said, leaving with the other one. I don't remember his name, V. Yes, Issei replied listlessly. I have to pack my suitcase and go to Mercia to face the league leader while I'm in last place. Last year I had to play them on the 7th matchday and I already had my points in PTB accumulated, but now they could send me to the relegation zone and it will be difficult to get out of there. The boy said as a girl suddenly pulled him and took him to a room. What's up? Issei said, looking down to see who it was. Are you being a jerk? You'd better not tell anyone, only you know about me. We're not in a relationship, do you hear? Promise me. The brunette hadn't even spoken yet and the girl was already yelling at him and making him promise strange things. He asks for promises as if he's going to pay with something. Don't say yes. In case you were wondering, yes, I was hiding it. Is there a problem? You can understand why, right? Hanging out with people like you could spread rumors that would make my life harder. And I really enjoy what I do. I'm sorry if that's your intention, but I don't plan on stopping what I do for you. The girl shouted angrily, looking the brunette in the eyes. I already knew it, even though her clothes and makeup are different. She's still Mizuhara, Issei thought, looking at the girl. Repeat after me, you and I have nothing going on, she said, still angry for no reason. I understand now. I understand now, said the chestnut-haired man. Seriously, of all the places you could appear, you choose this one. How the hell was I supposed to know? And it's not all my fault, this is my school too. The brunette half-shouted, desperate about the girl. Okay, that's fine, calm down, they could hear us, the girl said calmly, as if nothing had ever happened. You were yelling a moment ago. Issei reminded him. Being here is a nuisance. If you let slip a word about this, I won't forgive you, she said calmly but still a little angry. Why is it so bad that people know I went out with you? Issei said, waiting for the answer. You're just messing things up, XD. What the hell are you going to say? My girlfriend dumped me so I left and rented one. You're going to say that, little Hyoudou, she said, leaving the brunette speechless. I hope you understand and never require my services again. Goodbye, she said as she closed the door. If I want, I'll rent another one and that's it, she said as she suddenly received a call from her grandmother. A while later. Issei, I'm taking a break from the hospital today, so I'll come visit you. Tell Mizuhara to come too, said the grandmother with the calmness of the world. Grandma, I don't think it's possible. I have to leave tonight, the brunette said as his grandmother made a face of disappointment. It seems she's still disappointed, maybe for a little while, but she won't be able to come. She has things to do, she said as she hung up. Drag, was it better here or in Kuoh? Here there's good meat. You're such a jerk, haha, I love you, buddy. After that, Issei ran to the literature classroom. Hey, can I rent you again? Sorry, but something came up. Don't you have a brain, or why are you so full of air? The girl said, looking strangely at the brunette. I know what I'm doing is ridiculous, but I'll visit her on Wednesdays and she wants to see you no matter what. She doesn't listen to anything I say, he said while still kneeling. Just tell him you broke up and stop messing around. You're such a pain in the ass. What the hell, can't you just cancel and not go? The girl said, sounding upset or angry. I can't, she fainted for the first time when I was in elementary school. I've always seen her on Wednesdays. My parents would kill me. They might even make me drop out of school. If I don't go, my grandmother will be so lonely. I don't want that to happen. It's a family tradition. Issei said, lowering his head while Chizuru looked on in surprise. My grandmother likes you so much. She was so happy to see you that it was impossible for me to tell her the truth. So please, I beg you, he said, more than a little embarrassed. Chizuru just didn't say anything. I'm sorry, but this can't be happening. We can't get too involved in our clients' private lives. That's one of the rules in our company. It can also cause problems later, said the girl, looking at the boy with a mixture of seriousness and sadness. I see, so that's how it'll be then. There's no other option. Thank you so much for everything, Chizuru. Thank you for even just bringing a moment of happiness to my family. Thank you for doing what I haven't done in 19 years, the brunette said as he stood up. I just wanted to leave early, okay? I'll help you just this once. In return, after this, we won't have anything to do with each other. We'll do this like we normally do, understand? After this, we have no relationship whatsoever, and you will never speak to me at school, okay? Hours later. You'll find both a jewel and a beauty at Diamond. You can make your appointment online for any date you want. You can decide where to go, but 5,000 yen an hour plus food. Go to hell, Diamond. Hey, why the hell am I looking forward to that? It's rotten inside. It doesn't even compare to Mamekin, the boy said as he threw his pillow. And to top it all off, I have to leave for Mercia tomorrow at noon. The next day, Issei-kun. The girl shouted, smiling as everyone turned their attention to her. Is she an idol? I'm so jealous of her boyfriend. Oh, Walsito already has a partner. She doesn't deserve Walls. These were the comments of boys and girls watching them. Walls, so shall we meet? The girl said, somewhat confused by the previous statement. Yeah, Issei said as he walked alongside Mizuhara. This girl really knows how to change her appearance. The way she styles her hair and dresses really makes her look like a true idol. If she weren't my rental girlfriend, there's probably no way I could walk next to someone like her. This situation is real. A while later, cafeteria. Yes, that's definitely enough, said the girl, looking at the money with snake-like eyes. This is its terrifying side. What? In the hospital. Oh yes, let's go now, said the boy, entering the hospital. Is something wrong? Issei asked, looking at the beautiful girl. It's nothing, she said, still thinking about who Walls was. Hyoudou, the nurses exclaimed as the grandmother ran to hug Mizuhara. Miss, shouted the grandmother, throwing herself into Mizuhara's arms. For some reason, I feel embarrassed for them seeing this situation, Issei said, looking at the scene with a mixture of pity and seriousness. I knew it, you little delusion, it's real, said the grandmother, hugging the girl. Hours later. By the way, have you had Hex yet? The grandmother asked naturally, looking at both boys while Issei just spat out his coffee. Grandma, seriously, that's the first thing you think to ask? The boy shouted nervously and embarrassed. Why are you so embarrassed, Issei? Younger boys these days are doing things all the time, said Grandma. Before you get married, I have to confirm that you two are compatible. Issei is my grandson after all. Get married, it's too soon for that. Actually, I've been talking to Issei about that. We should take our time and be careful with things like that, don't we? Maybe we should ask for his approval first. Wow, your answer is perfect. What a perfect wife, said the grandmother, overjoyed. So what are you saying? The girl said as Issei just blushed. Hours later. Thank you so much for everything, Mizuhara, said the chestnut-eyed boy. It's nothing, seeing your grandmother happy somehow makes me happy too, the girl said while looking the brunette in the eyes. Even so, I'm sorry for getting you involved in all this. No problem, it's just part of my job, just like you can't stop until you find an amazing girlfriend, right? The girl said, smiling at the almondied man. And again with that smile she said, see you later, and left until they discover our lie. I think my grandmother and I are very grateful, even though she was still pathetic. She played her part until the end. Hours later. Mizuhara's house. If I had 5 million, I'd spend all day on it. XDXD, haha, are you an idiot? The girl had just read Issei's review and found him cute and clumsy at the same time. Con Issei. Well, time to pack my suitcase, the boy said as he went to pack his suitcase to go to the airport. A few hours passed, it was already 5:43 and Issei was waking up to leave his house. When he went out, he didn't see Mizuhara in the house next door wanting to come out, but he couldn't because of the surprise of seeing the brunette there. What the hell is he doing here? Does he live next door? She said, looking at the boy's suitcase. Where is he going? Hello, yes, excuse me, are you coming? I'm running a bit late for the airport, said the boy, calling his bald friend V. Airport. Is she running away to avoid seeing her grandmother? No, I don't think so. Then where will she go? Ah, time to work, said the boy as he went downstairs. Work. What do you do for a living, this idiot? The girl wondered as she watched the brunette leave. Out of curiosity, she decided to take a taxi to follow him to the airport. Why am I so interested in knowing what this idiot does for a living? The girl said, entering the airport to watch the brunette board a plane bound for Murcia, Spain. Why is he going to Spain? Time skip. What a drag being awake so early, said the chestnut-haired man as he arrived at the hotel in Murcia. Hours passed and they were already at the event, and while the battles were happening, Issei just talked to Drag. Honestly, I don't think I can respond this year. Maybe I'll leave the league, but not now. It would look really bad in front of the people who gave me a chance, the boy thought. You can't quit the league now, you're only on matchday 2, you idiot, wait until matchday 8 and then you can decide. Damn, it's my turn. This year, so early in the day, the two-time champion and the runner-up face off, the host said as they raffled off the tickets. It starts, Issei said. Okay, Hyoudou said as he started easy. Hyoudou. Words known deep extinct Venice stalls startle. So you think you're gonna beat me, friend? We're going as known and you think you're gonna beat me. They call me known so you don't give up. You've come, Facebook friends, anyway. Beat me, but I'll sink you. And I'll sink you, brother, don't you get it? They call me deep and I'll melt you. I'll take you to the depths like fish with light bulbs. See how I melt you, bro, that's why I consume you. I'm the best and I perfume myself. It's an honor to come as number 1. I feel like a fire extinguisher, your fumes go to your house. Damn, you know what, kid? That's why it's elementary. Hey, how did you do in the World Cup? Sorry, they called me Venice and the guy from the canal came. Beating me, comrade, you know you're not going to do anything to me. I'll eat it up, I'll screw up my throne, I'm sitting on my ass. You got the silver-backed monkey, you're not all that. In Murcia, you're always crying. This guy plays the fool stumbles, he pays him so much that he had to give envelopes to make the leap. Walls. Words viscera player pathetic center they owe newspaper. Yao enters Walcedo just to rhyme and leave. He comes to kill you because I know I'm better. He comes to rip out all your viscera walls. I take away your meat and your cannon fodder. They see me rap and you want to be like Walls. I'm sorry, but you got the best player. I'm like Vinicius, comrade. I already fulfilled my bucking promise in my first season. Dude, rappers are worthless to me. I'm flowing and it's worthless to me. But man, your hip-hop is useless to me. It's a joke. It's pathetic, it's lamentable, it's indescribable. I can say why I smash it. And leave it in mourning. I feel like Xavi Hernandez showing my talent because I have to score a cross and I score the last minute. Dude, tell me how many are coming to talk. I'm flowing, motherbucker, why am I telling you? I don't owe anything and I've got twice the style. Why do I owe way less than I earn? So friend who can mess with me, some little rappers know I'm better here. The jury's a journalist, bro. I say they're gonna win and they agree with me. Time, until you get drunk in easy mode, after hard mode. I'm not doing it because it didn't seem that relevant to me, as it has somewhat populist rhymes from Walls and Hyoudou. It wasn't the same as in easy mode. Topics. Topic classes. Hyoudou. I'll smash you because I'll give you a beating. He said he's taking the university entrance exams and he's right about that. But I'm not going to do the entrance exams with you in this competition, you know why? Because I'm harder and honestly I'm not giving you a chance. Go ahead, you know I'm the best. For me, beating you at your art is a real honor. So you'll see from afar how the sniper shoots you. You know I'm the best, you've got the rhythm, don't overdo it in this class, the teacher has arrived. I'll destroy you, bro, I'll destroy you, bro. He says he'll beat me, but what's he going to say? Inside this class, I have to squeeze you. Dry, he's very bad at language, so at math. You know what your subject isn't, gray matter, I'll smash you now, kid, you know I'm coming and I shine. For me, beating him is easy, look how I'm riddling you, you know how space is. I'm giving you lessons with twice the tiredness. Walls. Go, I know I'm Walls, I hope so. Hands up from the ghetto, yeah. Now he's a worker, yeah, this guy sucks my balls. The Valencia University entrance exam is the rapper. I'm making him waste a whole year. No homies. Tell me if he wants to talk, you can't match me, that's why I'm leaving you in mourning. The student you expelled in the first minute is older now and is the principal of your school. Dude, tell me if you want to rap, tell me if he's not here to talk, but Walls already improvises. He thinks I'll knock you out XD, I'm only here to drop some lines. And if you don't believe it, I don't give classes, but I do give classes when I rap. I beat him by 2,000, he can't even match me. This son of a bitch comes to rap and you don't answer me, you just prepare them in all the damn rounds. You fail the practical, but I think you know the theory perfectly. Seems freedom. Waddles. Dude, I'll put it to you with a style that's only meant to rhyme. I've got skill here, but it's worthless. You want to imitate me when I raps. But I just want to shout freedom like William Wallace. It's worthless to me. You've got everyone locked up like a cult leader. But the little one has arrived. To throw cushions at them like a revolutionary. Rappers think you're going to beat me. You think this is your dictatorship, you can beat us. You're not so tough because you lack culture and I'll kill your dictatorship. Robert's peer has arrived. You can't understand me, I just come to rap to give 100%. Sorry, it's just that you don't understand. You think you're free because of how quick you feel. Taste. In Peru they've screwed them over. They've been told to go to hell. Now you're back in your city, don't you remember? Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. I've got rap, so I'll burn him. Of course I'm a beast, what do you expect, always a fool. You in this confrontation. Give less performance than the Statue of Liberty in relay races. So tell me kid, why am I already destroying you and there's no problem? With me you already have freedom at this dinner. With this one that makes 2 defeats in a row. I send him to hell, I destroy him when he gets angry, I'm a revolutionary on the left, you have fewer revolutions than the Flintstones car, opposing characters, national vs international, taste. Okay, that's elementary, let's say you're the national team, you know why kid, because that can't be hard for you to win, walls. My style is going to catch me, he shakes it, everyone with their hands up in. It's already playing. National or international, you don't give a damn, in both competitions you complain the same way, Hyoudou. Yes, but I'm not insecure, that's why I'll clear up your doubts. I'm the international one, what an old joke, you know why walls, because you see her from afar. Walls. Hey mans, you know I'm already trembling, I came to rap and it just gets more complicated. Why are you going with your friends, why the hell are you quitting, they're not going to give you the belt you need. Hyoudou. That's why I'm on the mat, you make international rhymes so easy, you're the international one pappy, why do you win with your people, you're like the Icardi case. Walls. I don't have the national or international license, by the way, but I couldn't care less about all that crap. In a few years I'll be living off this, you on the other hand will starve when your little scheme ends, taste. The story ends but look you bastard, so in the improvisation. I said that time would be his worst enemy you bastard, there's Beanet who was right, walls. But man, these rappers can't match me, I'm only here to do it and to kill it. If Yankee 1 destroyed you at the international. What do you expect from someone who actually knows how to rap? Taste. But you know, you're an outrage, do you know how to handle the international I brought? You are the international, you don't even know how to evaluate your own character. Waddles. What does my friend say if I have more style? Everyone raise your hands, I'll smash it with style. I don't need a national team to have style, my pride is my people who make me feel loved. By resorting to populism, what have you become, comrade? Taste. You know I'll destroy you, brother, you bastard. You know why you're the national one, you bastard. It's the national one after this beating. He'll have to pick up his phone and dial 112. Walls. Hey. I'm here to blow things up. This guy, when he loses and cries, is full of pride. He plays and it gives him pride. That's the difference between my ego and yours. Free minutes. Response minute, Hyoudou. Taste. Come here, you bucking tough guy. You're in your own home and you think you're so cool. These are your rules, remember. So I'm a nuisance because I break the rules. I don't doubt it, champ, so you better quit. I don't give a shit that we're in your territory now. I'll leave you like the first one who went down the Estepona slide. What a mess. No, guys don't have home field advantage. Don't be stupid, those were options you had. I'm a hammer, get ready because your house is mine. Tell me kid, this little brat thinks he's going to beat me. Hi, I'm Walls, we're in my city. But this is FMS, so I'm the local son of a bitch. You'll see it's not strange. A fad, it doesn't hurt me because I'm a career of more than 10 years. Look champ, that's obvious, I'm Peter Pan but with my mind. Because they're problems, I've taken your people. Free minutes too. Response time, Walls. Waddles. Hee, it's not Liverpool, it's Barcelona. He doesn't have to talk, I own the area. I'm just here to rap and show that this is a faggot. You're the bucking Barcelona of freestyle, you promised too much for how little you delivered. You don't, you've got nothing good to rap about. The Estepona slide and I'm here to answer it. The Estepona slide is like facing me rapping. Every time they see it, they know they have to take advantage. Crazy, I know I'll kill it, tell me what you want, Mongoloid. You only think you're number one, but Walls already blows you up. You're like a bubble that's going to burst all by itself. And when you least expect it, your time will have come. He's got nothing to answer. Let everyone raise their hands if they've got nothing to burst. I got these clothes because of my own criteria. You wouldn't wear that if there weren't contracts involved. So shut your mouth, I'm here just to answer. People have their hands up for me because Walls has more initiative. Don't tell me it's the doctrine, I'm here just to kill it on stage. That's why I say and dead that I'll take your 3 points from the league. He says he didn't tell me. Only know that I'll nail you, you don't know, rapping like this, that's why they suck my hick. You've never done freestyle, you retard, you're just a robot with a programmed brain. Sometime later. Plane bound for Tokyo. JS Hyoudou gave you a good bucking after his first free minute. Shut up, I just went to collect my money, Issei said, though he was sad inside. Damn it, I thought this was the one you. Well, what will you do when you get there? Are you going to see the sausage? What? Why do you call him a sausage? Oh well, it doesn't matter, when I get there I'll do what I always do, he said while looking out the window that overlooked the sky. I'm starting to miss the underworld. What if I go back? No, I can't. I made it clear that I didn't want to return, and besides, I have a problem here. Oh well, you. End. Story 2. What if Issei was cold and overpowered Frost Dragon Emperor? The Frost Dragon DXD. Chapter 1. Hyoudou Residence. Monday, 6:38 a.m. In a distinguished mansion in the city of Kuoh, in the dining room were the Hyoudou family consisting of Mizuki Hyoudou, Goro Hyoudou, and the 17-year-old teenager Issei Hyoudou. Akasan, can you pass me the milk? The younger boy asked, and the older woman handed him the milk. Thank you. Hey Issei, the other day I was looking online at several psychologists, and I wanted to see if she didn't finish because the young man, who quickly finished his cereal, interrupted her while grabbing his briefcase or backpack. With some simple therapy I won't forget that, said the brunette as he said goodbye to his father, who hadn't spoken during that time, and went to say goodbye to his mother. Yes, but Issei, that was 10 years ago, said matriarch Hyoudou. So what? That doesn't mean I'll forget my mistake. It's my fault after all, and therapy won't make me forget that incident, so don't even try. You're wasting your time, she finished, leaving through the door. Honey, leave him alone. He still feels guilty about what happened. Like he said, don't try to force him to forget it. It will happen naturally, he said as he stood up and said goodbye to his wife, leaving. As he left through the door, he got into his car, which was unclear, possibly a car, and as he drove out he saw the road where Issei must have gone. Maybe I caught up with him. He sped up until he reached where his son was walking, who looked at him in surprise. Father, what are you doing here? He said, still wearing his typical cold expression. I wanted to see if you wanted me to take you to school like before, he said as he stopped the car. Issei, not wanting to walk, went to the other side and got into the car as his father sped off to get to his son's high school. During the journey to high school, the boy stared out the window while listening to music, ignoring any attempt at conversation from his father, who was realizing that for his son, the past is past. Upon arrival, they attracted the attention of several students because no one, despite it being a private academy, was arriving by car. When the chestnut-haired man descended, all the women, who were the vast majority, were mesmerized by Issei, as his golden eyes caused them to go into a trance, and besides he was very handsome according to any woman. Kuoh Academy, a private school that was previously only for girls, but due to a change in director it is now co-ed, although the majority are women so they are the dominant ones in this academy, thought the young man as he began to walk inside the school, still wearing his AirPods, which, due to their design and wireless nature, and because of his long hair that partially covered his ears, could go unnoticed. Upon arriving at the director's office, he simply lowered the volume and removed one of his earbuds, putting it in his left pocket. When he entered, he saw a fat and somewhat short man who greeted him warmly. Welcome, young man, another victim of Issei's interruption. Let's get straight to the point, little flea, he said, looking down at the man. Of course. If it had been someone else, I would have expected them to speak to me respectfully, but knowing their social and economic standing, along with their trauma, I decided not to say anything. Take this paper and go to the student council room, and they'll tell you which room is yours. He simply took the paper and went to the room where he was greeted by a beautiful girl with violet eyes and glasses, along with hair that reached her shoulders. I'm the new student Hyoudou Issei. I'm not interested in the landing, that's why I haven't watched Naruto go directly to my classroom, he said while she and the other members were left with their mouths open. It's room 2A. She didn't contradict him either because she knew the same as the director, and that's why no member contradicted her except for one. Speak to Kaichu with more respect, Vice President Shinra Tsubaki said. And what if I don't want to? I confronted the dark-haired woman with glasses. That answer left me speechless because at that point any other student would have already apologized, but he didn't. Seeing the girl's troubled expression, Issei simply said, if you're going to contradict someone, always have a ready response for any contradiction. It seems no student has ever contradicted you before. He turned to look at the dark-haired girl. Next time, remember your place. If I want, I can shut down this academy or get you expelled, so you'd better be careful who you contradict. He finished speaking as he decided to go to his classroom. Wow, was the surprised sound of a brown-haired loli named Nomura Roruko. Senpai is amazing. Black. Well, students, today we have a new student, so come in, said the teacher as he entered the classroom. He's the boy who got a 100% score on the entrance exam. He is the one who surpasses Kaichu in intelligence. They say he's richer than Kaichu and Rias senpai combined. Those and other rumors were about the chestnut tree until he entered. It's a pleasure, I'm Hyoudou Issei. I hope we can get along, Issei said, giving his companions a penetrating look. Do you have any questions? Me, a girl with pink hair, raised her hand. Is it true that you're smarter than Kaichu? If I am, what's it to you? The golden-eyed man said, can I ask you a question? A beautiful blonde girl with blue eyes and a blue butterfly hair ornament raised her hand. If I'm not mistaken, you're the idol Sina Kashiwazaki, right? He asked as the girl nodded. Well, what's your question? My question is, do you have or have you ever had a partner? He asked, disconcerting his companions while the boy just laughed. Not currently, but a few years ago I did, and telling her that was the worst decision I've ever made, Issei said as he went to sit next to the blonde. I hope we get along well, she said, giving him a big smile. The boy simply responded in kind, after class. How I wish I didn't have to do this, he said while standing on a bridge, watching the cars go by on the road. Excuse me, you're Hyoudou Issei from Kuoh Academy, right? Asked a beautiful black-haired girl with violet eyes and a large figure. The chestnut-haired man simply turned his head to answer her with a look that wasn't so cold as the girl was extremely pretty. Yes, he said while analyzing the beautiful girl with his gaze, who was blushing and very nervous. I don't remember that school uniform. What school does she come from? She's pretty. He wondered mentally, while the girl became more nervous under the young man's attentive gaze. This apparently the girl couldn't articulate any words to say because she looked very nervous. Do you want something from me? Asked, trying to regain his composure, his cold demeanor, but it seemed that this girl had touched the most sensitive part of his heart in just 2 minutes. So Hyoudou-kun, are you currently dating anyone? The girl asked, slightly disconcerting him. I don't have a partner, she said, looking into his beautiful violet eyes. What a relief, she said as she relaxed a little more. So would you like to go out with me? She asked as she became a little more nervous, blushed, and looked at the ground. What did you just say? For a moment, Issei set aside his cold personality and made a surprised face. I've seen you walking around here for a long time, and then I kept thinking about you, Hyoudou-kun. The girl seemed to be gathering her courage to say the last part to the boy. Is this? Issei still didn't understand what was happening. With me, go out with me, please. Finally, I mustered up the courage to tell her my intentions. Are you serious? The young man was still stunned. Well, I won't deny that you're beautiful, and well, yes, I agreed to go out with you. Great, so could we go on a date? She asked, looking into Issei's golden eyes with her beautiful violet eyes. A date. Issei seemed bewildered. It wasn't that he didn't know what it was, but it was a lot of information all at once. Next Sunday, can't you? The girl asked at the end, a little sad but serene. For those from Canalip it would be, or attentive at the same time. Who couldn't? Of course I can, he said, smiling in the Vegetto style, serious but with a smile. What a relief, the girl said, gazing lovingly at the brunette. Yes, see you there, said the brunette, still looking into the girl's eyes. Hey, I have a question, he said as the girl turned to look at him. What's your name? Yuma Amano, she said as she looked at him again with love. Yes, I'll see you there, she said as she turned around and began to skip happily until she turned on her heels. I'll be looking forward to our date, okay? She said, going back to what she was doing. Yes, me too, he said as he said goodbye to her. Not far from there, as soon as the chestnut-haired boy went under the bridge, a white-haired loli appeared, watching the path where the golden-eyed boy had gone while licking a strawberry popsicle. Kuoh Academy. A cult club, yes, said a beautiful redhead with blue-green eyes and a great body. After all, the president's intuition, said the white-haired girl, looking at the blue-eyed one. Are you saying I was right? Asked another beautiful woman with black hair tied in a ponytail and a very nice body. I was right to send you to keep an eye on him, said the red-haired beauty. President, what should we do? The dark-haired woman with purple eyes asked. At least we have to put him in a subordinate position, he said, taking a pawn from the chessboard on the small table in front of him. However, he paused briefly, looking at the pawn. It all depends on him, he said, putting the pawn back in its place. Sunday. It's getting close to time, Issei said, wearing a light purple button-down long-sleeve shirt, a black shirt, light black pants, and brown shoes. Please, a woman in bat cosplay handed him a pamphlet. The girl just smiled at him before leaving. I ended up accepting it, he said, looking at the pamphlet. Is your dream coming true again? Ice-kun, exclaimed his girlfriend, the beautiful Yuma Amano, who was arriving wearing a light pink blouse with black details buttoned from above her chest down. She was also wearing a black skirt and white high-heeled shoes. Hello, Yumechan, Issei greeted his beautiful girlfriend. I'm sorry, did you wait long? She asked, feeling bad for having made him wait too long. No, I just arrived. With that, Issei offered his hand to his girlfriend, who gladly accepted, and they began their date. At first, they went for a walk to a place where there were many shops, and of all of them, Yuma wanted to go to a clothing store, much to Issei's misfortune. It's all over now, he said, watching Yuma enter the store, where they both tried on various clothes which Issei paid for in order to finally buy her a padded bright pink wristband. Afterwards, they went to an ice cream shop where Yuma ordered a strawberry milkshake along with ice cream in a milkshake cup V, and Issei ordered a vanilla milkshake. Out of curiosity, Issei glanced down at Yuma's chest. Because she was leaning forward slightly, he could see something that left much to the imagination. What he didn't know was that Yuma noticed, but she didn't say anything more than. What's wrong? She asked with a provocative face, making Issei blush and turn around to quickly take a sip of his milkshake, causing him to choke, which worried Yuma. Are you okay? She asked, grabbing a handkerchief and handing it to Issei. As evening approached, they went to a park, specifically to an area where the sunset could be seen very well, and there was a large fountain in the center of the park. I had so much fun today, the girl said as she hugged Issei's right arm, her gaze reflecting love. Yes, I had fun too, he said as they approached the fountain, and Yuma separated from the brunette to stand in front of the fountain. Tell me, Icegun, she said, and he paid attention. To celebrate our first date, could you hear my only wish? She asked as they slowly approached each other until they were standing in front of the brunette where they could both feel each other's breath. What would your wish be? The boy asked, watching as the girl approached to kiss him. I want us to be together forever, she finished, kissing the brunette. The kiss was inexperienced on both sides, but it reflected the love between them, although more so Yuma's. So you're with a human, aren't you? A new voice chimed in as Issei pulled away from Yuma and looked around, finding nothing until Kuoh, the boy spat out a large amount of blood, which frightened Yuma as he looked at the hole in Issei's stomach. She quickly set about searching for who had injured the chestnut-tired man, only to find a dark-haired woman with purple eyes, wearing provocative clothing somewhat older and with raven wings. What did you do to Icegun? She asked nervously as the girl simply raised her hand and a magic circle appeared beneath the brunette's girlfriend, and after a great flash the girl was gone. It was easy to erase this moment from her. I'll just tell her you were murdered and take her home, right, Hyoudou Issei? The girl slowly approached the dying young man. Goodbye. With that, she too disappeared into a magic circle, meanwhile with Issei. It's all red just like that person's hair. Saying that, he remembered when he saw a beautiful redhead. It's redder than reddish blonde. Goodbye to that beautiful hair, he said as he gradually lost consciousness. It's the same color this hand is dyed. With that, he let his hand fall, no longer strong enough to lift it. But what am I saying? I'm about to die. After saying that, he spat out another mouthful of blood. I can't take it anymore, my body, damn it, why did I have to die in that inexplicable way? Even so, was it a promising youth? I've made so many mistakes. If I were to be reborn, so Rias-senpai. That beautiful reddish hair, that person. If I'm going to die, I want to die in that beauty's arms, hahaha. It seems Yuma brought out my past self before the incident, he said as he felt his vision blurring. As he said that, a crimson pentagram was completed, and from his pocket came out the pamphlet that had been given to him, where that pamphlet had turned into that pentagram from which a beautiful red-haired girl in Kuoh's uniform was emerging. Did you call me? Were his first words upon arriving. He turned around upon seeing Issei's body. Who is it? Issei still didn't know who his savior was. If you're going to die anyway, I'll pick you up. With that, 2 bat wings sprouted from his back. Other wings, said Issei, seeing the wings that emerged from the beautiful young woman. Your life now live for me. White. Issei, wake up. His mother spoke as the brunette looked up and saw his watch, which read 7:15. Again, that's why I had that strange dream, he said, looking at his watch, which displayed the image of a yandir. He sat on his bed looking towards the wall where his clock was. Dream. Out of nowhere, all the memories of that day came flooding back. White. Yuma, answer me, Issei said from the stairwell leading to the 3rd floor. He was looking at his conversation with Yuma where he sent her a message to see if she remembered anything. While he was on his phone, he suddenly felt a gaze upon him. Looking up at the bottom of the stairs, he saw the beautiful redhead Rias Gremory. They stared into each other's eyes while the students in the hallways watched. Kaya, it's Rias-senpai. Every time I see her, I admire her more, said a brunette beauty with almond-shaped eyes next to a pink-haired girl with blue eyes. Issei regained his composure when he saw his senpai. She was elegantly descending the stairs when she stood in front of Issei, stopping for a second to give him a smile before resuming her walk. That was white. It's strange, first that dream and now Rias-senpai. Is this something that happens normally? He still had that question about why Yuma wasn't answering him, the woman who killed him, and now with his senpai. Issei was walking down a school hallway where the duo of perverts wanted to hurt Issei for getting attention, so the hallway where the brunette was at the end led to some stairs to the 1st floor. Hey Issei, let's turn off the lights for a bit, they said as they turned off the lights, but Issei didn't even fall even though the windows were closed and covered. It didn't turn off, she told them both, leaving them puzzled. The hallway light didn't turn off. Huh, what are you talking about? Both, still confused, approached the boy. This is wrong, I can't see the light, but I can see better in the dark, he said as he recovered and said goodbye to both boys. Oh, sorry Matsuda and Motohama, but I'm in a hurry. He left the school to walk because it was getting dark and he had to hurry. On the way I looked into a darker alley, and when I looked I could see it clearly. I knew it, I can see clearly in the dark, he said, resuming his walk, but along the way. I can't buy it, shouted a little girl in front of a toy store. You're still so selfish, I'll leave you behind, said the woman who appeared to be the mother. I don't want to. How can I hear conversations so far away? She said, starting to run, seeing everything clearly even though it was night. What's happening to me? My body feels so strange, she said as she ran until she reached the park where she had her date. This park, she said, remembering her date until she received a message from Yuma. WhatsApp. Yuma. We need to talk, Icegun. Upon seeing the message he wrote to her, can it be tomorrow after class? I'm a little busy, to which the girl simply replied with a yes. This is where I had my date with Yumechen, she said, remembering her date and her death. Out of nowhere, the entire sky turned dark purple, and Issei instinctively turned to look at a corridor where there was darkness and nothing could be seen. This is a place of absorption, this place is, began a voice that sounded like that of an older man. This feeling my body won't stop trembling, just as she said she was trembling, but it wasn't from whom. The man suddenly looked up, causing the brunette to reflexively jump back. I was just thinking of taking a step back a little. Are you running away? To the chestnut-tired man's misfortune, the man was approaching slowly. I don't understand anything, the boy exclaimed as a crimson-red aura began to form around his arm from his shoulder to his hand due to the momentum. As he said that, he tried to flee, but the man took out some crow wings and flew chasing the young man, who was still forming a kind of gauntlet. Feathers. Upon seeing the wings and feathers, the boy remembered the woman who had murdered him. The man, tired of following him, stood in front of him, causing him to break suddenly. It's annoying to meet someone who exists like you. The man said this and saw that the boy already had a red gauntlet with an emerald gem. Impossible, JPG. Is this a bucking dream? Issei said, frustrated by so many things as he turned to look at his arm, which felt somewhat heavy. When he saw the glove, Issei was going to attack, but since he wasn't stupid, he was studying the situation for an attack that his opponent wouldn't expect. I don't sense the presence of your master or your companions nearby, he said, raising his right hand to chest level. I don't sense any trace of magic nearby other than yours. Assessing the situation, you're lost, he said, forming a blue lance of light with his right hand. Then there'll be no problem, I'll kill you, he said as the boy threw a punch with the glove, which the man easily dodged. You need more practice with that thing, he said, kicking the boy in the back, sending him flying a few meters before throwing the lance, which pierced him completely, leaving a deeper wound in his stomach. He knelt down, the spear in his stomach, blood pouring from the front. Damn, it wasn't this painful when it was that girl, he said, reaching for the spear, but the touch caused him immense pain. Ah. For you, light is poison. It seems I was wrong, you're unexpectedly very resilient, he said as he raised his arm, the spear emerging from Issei's body and traveling to his hand, causing the boy even more pain. Don't worry, I'll make you feel better. He raised the spear, ready to throw it. Damn it, I can't take it anymore, and I can't swallow my pride and ask for help, the boy said as the man had the spear ready. As he tried to launch it, he was stopped by a magical attack that looked like a thicker, red lightning bolt on the edges and black on the inside. Was this your doing? The man asked, looking at the boy, but suddenly an intense red glow appeared, catching both of their attention. Apparently not, he said, looking at where the glow was coming from. Could you stay away from that, boy? A redhead asked, stepping out of the magic circle. Red hair, Rias-senpai. The boy ended up unconscious from blood loss. Damn it. The man created a spear of light and threw it in the direction of the girl, but it was deflected by a white-haired loli who, upon falling, ended up in front of Rias. Damn it. She shouted as she summoned another spear and prepared to fly in front of them, but she was stopped by a beam that shot directly from the ground, forcing the man back. After the smoke cleared, a beautiful black-haired woman approached, her right forearm raised and small rays emanating from her hand. Red hair, I see you're from the Gremory clan, right? The man asked, looking at the redhead. It's Rias Gremory. Good day, fallen angel, the girl said, her expression one of satisfaction at having saved the boy. But look, I didn't think this city was under the control of the Gremory clan, he said, shaking his hat. And is that your servant over there? If you mess with this boy, I will show no mercy, he finished, his expression serious. Well, I apologize for today, but don't stop watching your servant. Someone like me could find him out for a walk. He finished, giving the girl a grim look. I appreciate your warning, but I'm also informing you that if you try this again, I won't stop, he said with his eyes closed and his hand at his chin, which was open. And I intend to make good on that promise, he finished, opening his eyes abruptly and with a somber voice. I'll return that phrase to you, head of the Gremory clan, he finished, releasing his wings and taking flight. My name is Daunashiku, he said, opening a magic circle and retreating with Rias and company. She started walking towards Issei, seeing that he had blood on his left hand and in his mouth, and more blood was coming out of his stomach, smearing on the floor. I was careless. I never thought a fallen angel would do this, the girl said, her eyes reflecting concern. If he keeps going like this, he'll die, right? Asked the white-haired girl. I won't let him die, she said as she crouched down in front of the boy and extended her right arm slightly, forming a small magic circle. This boy is mine. White. Master, wake up please. Master was the sound of the brunette's clock as he turned it off, it reading 7:15 a.m. Another weird dream. Why does this happen to me? As he was getting up, he noticed something. Why am I naked? He wondered since, as he said, he wasn't wearing any clothes. Where's my underwear? He wondered until he saw a lump in his bed, so he pulled back the covers and what he found surprised him greatly. Upon removing her blanket, she saw her senpai Rias Gremory completely naked and sleeping peacefully. The shocked boy fell backward, landing on his butt on the bed. What, Raya-senpai? The surprised and confused boy covered himself, still staring at the beauty in his bed. Is it already morning? Rias asked sleepily as she sat up in bed. Ah, she yawned, lifting her body forward slightly, her breasts bouncing. What the hell? Issei, who had finally reacted, stared at Rias, doing anything to hide his erection. Good morning, she greeted Issei politely as she adjusted her hair, her breasts moving more as she moved. How is Raya-senpai? Or rather, it's a dream. It's a continuation of my dream, he said, making Rias giggle. This is reality, everything you're experiencing, she said, placing her right leg on the edge of the bed and raising her left leg, her knee almost reaching her chin. She rested her left arm and her head on her leg. I am Rias Gremory, I am a demon, she finished as Issei looked into her eyes. A demon? The boy asked. And your teacher too, nice to meet you, Hyoudou Issei-kun. She finished, smiling at him in a friendly way. Issei, wake up, you'll be late. The one speaking now was Issei's mother, who, after being surprised, returned to his cold attitude, which surprised Rias, as her expression changed completely. I'm already awake, just don't come into my room, he said as his mother. It's always the same. Night and morning, he said as he went to open the door, but Issei closed it, blocking it with his body. Don't come in, I'm naked, he said as his mother understood, just don't be long. Your home is very energetic so early in the morning, Rias said, watching Issei put on his underwear. This I can see, he said, trying to turn his gaze away. What? The girl said, crossing her legs and moving her right hand forward and backward. Your breasts, he said, now putting on his pants. You can watch them as much as you want, she said as she closed her legs and got out of bed. Wait, what? Can I have permission? To step on the lentil, okay, no, if you guess where the word comes from, I'll upload a chapter every day, he said while turning to look at the attributes of the red-headed beauty. The girl just went to a corner of the room and grabbed her panties, which were black and transparent. Does your abdomen feel okay? He asked, turning around. Hey, where were you stabbed? The woman explained. Where I went, I remember. How do you know? From my dream, the serious boy asked, looking at the beauty with blue-green eyes. It wasn't a dream. Issei, seeing the girl's breasts, reacted and turned away embarrassed while searching his drawers for his red shirt. This brought a smile to Ria's face, who bent down to pick up her bra. You had a real injury, but you were healed in the span of one night, she said, adjusting her two attributes in her bra. Heal. The boy didn't understand as he put on his shirt. I bathed your wound in magic all night, she said as she turned around and gathered her hair in front. Nii, will you help me hold it? She said, revealing the back of her bra. Of course, Issei said as he put his white shirt on his dresser and went to Rias to hold her bra. But senpai, why are you undressing with me? He said as he fastened his beautiful senpai's bra. Didn't I tell you, I had to bathe you in magic to heal you by embracing you naked, she finished, surprising Issei. Meanwhile, Issei blushed deeply as he imagined himself and Rias naked. Rias understood Issei's expression and giggled as she whispered in his ear. Don't worry, I'm still a virgin, she said, smiling. Oh, I see. Honestly, I thought I already had experience, she said, and thought the last part. Don't make that face, he said, grabbing Issei's chin and turning him around so they were face to face. The world is full of mysteries, he said, placing his thumb under Issei's lip and touching his cheek with his fingers. This is Rias senpai, Issei said. Yes. Rias asked, looking at Issei's lips. You said something about a demon. That's right, I'm a demon and you're my mistress, he said as he pulled away from the brunette, placing his hand on his chest. Can I just call you Issei? White. How is this possible? Asked a student with green hair. That kid, there's no way, said another one with glasses. It's not possible, senpai beat us to it, said a beautiful brunette girl holding hands with a pink-haired girl. Raya-senpai took ice gun away. Well, I don't blame them, I'm walking with the top idol of the academy, Rias Gremory, Issei thought, turning his gaze away. They continued walking until they entered the building. A messenger will come to see you, he said, stopping his walk and turning to look at Issei. A messenger, the boy asked. We'll meet later, he said as he left. Wait, Raya-senpai, wait. The boy didn't understand. Despite being very intelligent, one doesn't always know everything. Idiot. Sina Kashiwazaki yelled, striking Issei with a right-handed punch that sent him flying into a nearby post. He grabbed Issei, who was on his knees, and began shaking him. Explain what you were doing with senpai, Issei. He demanded, still shaking him. With Rias. So he's the chosen one, said a beautiful black woman with shoulder-length hair, violet eyes, and glasses, leaning against a post in the middle of the large space at the top of the stairs. Huh. Rias, realizing I was one step away from reaching that intermediate point, turned around and looked at the violet-eyed girl. Good morning, Rias, he said while standing with his arms crossed. Good morning, Sona, Rias greeted as she approached the dark-haired girl, while both turned down, looking at the brunette being shaken by a desperate blonde. Taking it as a whim, that's nothing like you, he said, watching the blonde calm down. No. Well, I guess I got a silly little brother after all, said a cute little Rose, looking fondly at the brunette who was talking to the girl while rubbing his cheek. White. She said she'd send a messenger for me, but nobody came, he said as he heard some female screams. What the hell? he said, turning to look at the door where a boy with blonde hair and gray eyes along with a small mole below his right eye was entering. Hello, the boy greeted politely. Kibikun, they all shouted. Huh, isn't he the one they say is the other prince besides me and the one they make yaoi manga about me? Issei wondered. Excuse me, said Kina, walking past them all. Excuse me for polluting the air around you, they each said. Buck hahaha, that's being a real jerk to yourself. What? Hello, the boy greeted, approaching the brunette. What happened, Kibasan? The brunette asked. I came here with a message from Rias-senpai, Kiba said. So it's you, the boy asked, a little surprised. Could you walk with me, she asked as the boy stood up. Kaya, the two princes together, they said while some of them got nosebleeds. Seriously, do something useful, study, sell your butts, I don't know, just look at us, the boy thought. What a perfect duo, said the brunette named Murayama Kaori. Heavens, don't stare at us so much, it makes me uncomfortable, Issei said, picking up his briefcase. You can see a building with a somewhat rustic appearance. This was the old Kuoh Academy building. In a room lit only by candles, you can see two sofas facing each other on a circular rug with a pentagram, a desk behind it, and a padded teacher's chair with a padded seat and backrest and wheels. What is this room? Issei asked, looking at the white-haired girl sitting there. Who is that girl? The boy asked, looking at the beautiful loli. This is Taoju Konkasen from the first year, Kiba said, looking at the girl eating ice cream. And this is Hyoudou Issei-kun, Kiba said, introducing Issei to Kaneko. Nice to meet you, said the boy as the white-haired girl just turned around to eat her ice cream. Fragile character, great agility, this is a mascot character among boys like boys, this is a magnificent entrance of a little kitten. He thought, analyzing the girl who didn't bother to say anything because she was staring at him, knowing that he always analyzed the situation and people and knew that he was doing that with her. A shower here at the club. The boy wondered, turning to look at one side of the room. What the hell did you do to me, Yuma, that made me go back to my old self, the cheerful, closet-perverted Issei? He asked himself, looking at that side of the room. President, you have a guest, said a female voice. Thank you, Akino, said the other voice, which Issei recognized instantly. Raya-senpai? Issei asked. Oh, Ara, said the beautiful black-haired girl, turning to look at Issei, who went straight to greet her, making him a little nervous. So you're the new member of the club, it's a pleasure, she said, bowing slightly, her large breasts sagging. I'm Vice President Himejima Akino, have a nice time here, Fufu, she added, letting out a sweet little laugh as she stood up with some effort, her breasts bouncing. What the hell did you do to me, Yuma? Nice to meet you, I'm Hyoudou Issei, said the brunette while casually and pervertedly analyzing the girl. This girl is tall and thin, has black hair and a ponytail. The spitting image of Yamato Nadeshiko stands next to Senachin and Raya-senpai, the third flower of Kuoh Academy. Himejima Akino. This is the best club. Yamato Nadeshiko equals classic Japanese beauty. Sorry for the wait, Rias said, coming out of the bathroom while drying her hair. I apologize, I couldn't shower at your house because I was in a hurry to arrive late, she said, still drying her hair until she gave the towel to Akino. It's fine, I don't care, she said dismissively. Well, now that we're all gathered here, Rias said, her serious demeanor shifting from nothing to a completely friendly and happy one. We, the Occult Research Club, appreciate your attendance. She leaned back on the desk and looked at the sofas where Issei and Kaneko were sitting on the left, Rias right, and Kiba and Akino on the right, Rias left. Yes, yippee, he said, feigning happiness. Although Occult Studies Club is just a front, the young woman said. What do you mean? Issei asked, checking the time on his Apple Watch Series 5. How does he have that watch if it's not coming out for another 2 months? To put it simply, we're demons, said Rias. That was very brief. Is this some kind of joke, punk? Issei asked. The man in black with those images from yesterday, he was a fallen angel, Rias said, looking at Issei. While they are God's right hand, there are angels with impure ideas who fell from heaven controlling people. They want to destroy the demons. Since ancient times, they have fallen from heaven to the lands of hell. Besides the fallen angels, there are also angels sent by God with orders to kill us. In short, we are attacked from all sides, she said, looking at a thoughtful Issei. Where the hell is the camera? Issei said, storing all that away. Do you understand our story so far? Rias asked, do I look like an idiot to you? Amano Yuma, he said, taking the young man by surprise. You haven't forgotten about her, I suppose. You had a date after all, he said, making Issei uncomfortable. I don't know where you heard her name, but I have better things to do, like discussing my future with my parents, she said as she stood up and was about to leave, but Rias took something out of her pocket and threw it on the table. Yumachin. She's no longer in Kuoh, she went to England, Rias declared, surprising Issei, but he would discuss it with her later via text. That fallen angel who wanted to test whether or not you had something dangerous followed you and killed you at the end of your date. That's why Yumachin was transferred to England, she finished. That girl, said Issei, was interrupted. Sacred mechanism, said Rias. It's a power that is involuntarily granted to some human beings, Akino explained, turning to look at Issei. It is believed that many of the most notable people possessed one of these powers, Akino concluded, and sometimes people have enough power to thwart angels and demons, Rias explained. Issei, raise your left hand. She called his attention, like this. Issei asked, raising his hand. Now close your eyes and imagine the strongest person you can think of, Rias ordered. That's easy enough, Issei said. Issei proceeded to do as requested while his arm was enveloped in a crimson-red aura with green, blinding everyone. When the glow disappeared, everyone was impressed by the appearance of their sacred mechanism, even more so Rias and Aquino. Impossible, said the dark-haired woman. There had been no record of carriers for 1,000 years, Rias commented. Story 3. What if Issei was betrayed by family and became Seth freakin' Rollins? Betraying for power. Chapter 1. You're useless were Rias Gremory's harsh words, looking at her pawn Issei Hyoudou. Issei tried to speak with his head bowed, but he wasn't allowed to. Shut up. I won't let you call me by my name now. I'm your mistress and you're my slave, Rias said angrily. I didn't expect you to be so strong. What? I gave it my all, Issei thought, his gaze lowered, unable to say that. He could only manage what he said. Gremory-sama. You're supposed to be one of the strongest wielders of the Red Emperor Dragon. How could you lose to someone who can't use magic? The redhead said, extremely angry. He didn't even finish speaking because Rias silenced him. Shut up, I'm the one who decides whether you speak or not, understand? She said as she released some of her destructive aura. Yes, regretting his desire to speak, he ended up remaining silent. You made us look ridiculous. Because of you, the Gremory family was humiliated in front of the Bale family, Rias emphasized to Issei, as it was true from her point of view. You know, Issei, she said, making the brunette raise her gaze slightly. If you're weak, you're useless to the world. Now go. I don't want to see you for the rest of the day, Rias said, going to sit in her chair. Issei stood up because Rias forced him to kneel. Upon opening the club doors, he saw his clanmates waiting to comfort him. You're useless, you're supposed to be stronger than all of us, Butchu was right, you're useless, were the words that shocked Issei to hear such words from his best friend. Ara, you're right, you're just a stupid, useless breastlivercun, were Aquino's harsh words to Issei. You're the worst, Issei-senpai. Because of you, we're the laughingstock of the entire underworld. We shouldn't have revived you, Kaneko said coldly, making Issei clench his fists even tighter as he stared at the floor. You were supposed to be strong, and to think I wanted to have children, now I wonder if you're the one or not, Zenobia said, looking at Issei. He was in total shock at the words of his friends because they were serious. Asia would never say those kinds of things to me, said Issei, turning to look at the blonde girl who turned her back on him and left with the others, leaving Issei in shock once again. Issei was speechless. No one but Ravel, the Sitri entourage, Seraphal, and Irina had congratulated him on his performance. Not even the Mao saw him, he just looked at him seriously and left the arena. Weeks have passed and I am increasingly excluded from contracts, conferences, and so on. They didn't even take my performance into account. I did what no one else could. Hyoudou Issei gave Serekyorg Bale a fight. The girl I'd give my life for calls me useless. The friends I would stand up for humiliate me. Why do I receive this kind of treatment? They should be proud of making history in the rating games. I decided to leave the club because why stay if they treat me less? 2 weeks have passed and now there is a dispute in the Demon King's office. Sirzechs Lucifer ordered your removal from the position of Demon King, said a silver-haired man. By what right do you say that, Rizvim? Asked the current Demon King, for before him stood Rizvim Liven Lucifer, the original descendant of Lucifer. During the rebellion of some demon houses, some surrendered, but this fell over their points to the Mao killed them without any mercy. Do you have proof? The redhead asked. Sure, if you don't believe me, look at the hologram, he said while displaying a hologram. Hologram. I accept any punishment, but I only did it for my family, said a demon kneeling before Sirzechs. He deserves more than punishment, said the ex-Gremory as he created a sphere of destruction. I only did it for my wife and daughter, he said, sensing the aura of destruction. Die, he said as he killed him without mercy. Hell was the man's guttural scream. End of recording. That man only joined them because they had kidnapped his wife and daughter, and he killed him without mercy, Rizvim said as the other demon kings turned to look at Sirzechs. I rejected the position of Demon King for one reason: young blood needed to grow, but we're still the same as before because of people like him, Rizvim finished, while Seraphal, Falbium, who was awake, and Agika made them reflect. While that was happening, the council just murmured. Very well, Rizvim, you win. Well, think about it, they said as the 3 previously mentioned Demon Kings supported the opinion. Thank you very much, Rizvim said as he left. Sirzechs, on the other hand. The redhead was extremely angry. He knew that if he wanted to remain Demon King, he had to get everyone to vote for him, but that video had him cornered. He needed help from his acquaintances, and with just a couple of votes in his favor, the general elections wouldn't take place. I just need the support of those who are most influential on the council, and for that I need the support of my acquaintances, were Sirzech's words, reflecting on what had happened. Only 2 days had passed since the incident, and they were debating whether a vote was necessary for the drafting of Demon King. The cruel rule of the past was no longer necessary because thanks to the intervention of the current Red Dragon Emperor, everything had changed among the races, and that included the rule. Now it's just a matter of having authority. If that's the case, the true heir to the throne only needed one chance to lead them. Should they be led by the heir or the current one? That was the council's dilemma at the moment. Issei Rias Gremory, the redhead, spoke to her pawn. Yes, Gremory-sama, Issei said, sounding somewhat depressed. There's a leftover contract you'll have to fill out. It's something even the dumbest person could do. Besides, you haven't done anything this week, Rias said, handing her the contract papers. Finish the contract and I'll punish you, the woman finished. Yes, Issei said simply as he left. As soon as he left, only Rias and Akino remained. Ara, have you noticed Rias? Akino asked, looking at the redhead, noticed that the girl was in doubt. Isuken dyed his hair black, but he also dyed a small part of it blonde, and besides, he's more muscular now. I almost feel like forgiving him for losing, Akino said, licking her lips. Really, I hadn't realized it, but now that I see it, we've been rather cruel to him. I think we'll have to do something, she said thoughtfully. If you mean punishing him, I'll take care of it, he said, licking his lips. No, I mean forgive him, Rias said, looking at Akino. I see, well, tell the others, Akino suggested as she left. I will do that. Did you summon a demon to fulfill your expectations? I asked upon arriving at the location. That's right, sit down, kid, this is going to be a good long chat, said the one who hired me. I support you, friend, Ajuka said, looking at Sirzechs. Me too, Serafal said, not entirely convinced. Of course I support you, otherwise I wouldn't sleep while someone else is in charge, Falbium said. Now all that was missing was the one who started it all. Yes, Gremory-sama, Issei said, entering the Drop the formality, Issei, you can call me Rias, she said, looking at Issei, whose expression only changed to an even colder one than he already had. I can't, you are my mistress and I am your slave and you deserve to be told as such, Issei said in a cold voice. You've been acting a bit strange since your contract started 2 days ago, Rias said, noticing Issei's change. Not at all, he said without flinching. Well, I'll be going now, he said as he left through the door. Something's wrong, Rias said, observing Issei's behavior. Fufu, now I see Isuken is even hexier than before. Watch out, Rias, I might steal him from you, Akino said, imagining herself with Issei. Don't even think about it, Akino. Issei sees me as his everything. He would never leave me because he is mine, Rias said. Let's bet, Akino said. It's not necessary, we know Issei prefers me, Rias said arrogantly. How arrogant you are, Butchu, Akino said. Someone wants my position, the Demon King told me, the one who also didn't see my effort. But he's the highest authority, I said, not understanding what he meant. Yes, but he's Lucifer's son, the throne is his by law, he said as he understood everything. I just need your vote of confidence, but do I still have your support, guys? He asked us. Of course, Anasama, said the redhead. Of course, everyone said except me. How much are you, Red Emperor Dragon? Sirzechs asked me. Of course, I said without hesitation, saying that I left while everyone stared at me. Everyone stared at me strangely, but I didn't care. Without another word, I left. Anyone who saw that scene would say I turned my back on them. Issei Rias was shocked by the way Issei had left. Senpai, Kaneko was also intrigued by her senpai's behavior. I see you've already left, a hooded man says, looking at the boy. Sure. In that case, I'll ask you again, are you with me or with them? He asked, watching how the boy was about to speak. Well, we've decided it will be a 1v1 battle, the Demon King Sirzechs team versus Rizvim's team, said one of the council members. The winner is already known, Rizvim said as he left. Only Issei is missing, why did he block her signal? Rias said, sounding both sad and frustrated. We were very cruel to him, Asia said. He probably won't support us out of hatred, they all said as Sirzechs clenched his fists. Everyone ready? The referee asked. Yes, they said without much enthusiasm, since Issei was the key to glory. But they're missing one, he said, counting them. He won't participate, said the older redhead, but just then he arrived. Hyoudou Issei arrived. Issei stared at his suit. We thought you weren't coming, said Rias, looking him in the eyes. I wouldn't let my family down, he said as he stood in front of everyone. That entrance revealed a change in his personality and his approach to combat. After the fight, only the Mao and the Gremory entourage remained, and on the other side, only Rizvim. You know, Lucifer, when I did this, it was Plan A, he said, leaving everyone wondering. It's time for Plan B. Plan B, they all said. By said Rizvim. What's the Plan B, they said as they approached. But for one person, everything was different. So you're a demon, aren't you? The boy asked, looking at the man. That's right, I see you're intelligent, kid, said the man. Come, let's talk, I'll tell you something and at the end I'll make you a proposition. Surrender, Rizvim, these are just your own ideas, you're the only one left. Surrender so I can become the Demon King again, Sirzechs said confidently. Are you going to be the Demon King again, but who is the heir? he said looking at the current Lucifer. Jump. He complained they were all ready to attack until they heard something that shocked them. Dragon shoot. Issei said, shocking everyone because it was his strongest technique and he had saved most of his energy for that attack, but what shocked them was that it went directly point-blank towards Sirzechs. He left everyone in shock until they saw how he was eliminated. Issei Rias was still in shock. Snap out of it, she said, believing he was being mentally manipulated. Out of nowhere, his expression changes to a serious one as he grabs Rias by the neck. Issei Dateshi didn't finish, because Issei sent her flying towards a building. I can't do that to them, they're my family, Issei said, looking at his employer. Hahaha, really? As far as I understand, family treats each other well, but yours hasn't treated you well. Family doesn't treat each other badly, and what did yours do for a month? He said, looking at the brunette. I didn't know what to say. I saw your fight and let me tell you, you were spectacular. I've never seen anyone get up so many times despite the damage you sustained. The man acknowledged her bravery and effort. You took all the bad things from that fight, but nobody saw your effort except for those 7 girls, right? But still, Issei wanted to change everything, but he couldn't. He was telling the truth. You have something I haven't seen in years, Wilpor. Let me ask you something. Did anyone besides those 7 girls come up to congratulate you on your effort? The man asked, looking the brunette in the eyes. He just remained silent. I knew it, said the man. Senpai Kaneko remained shocked by Issei's reaction. He's not Issei, Kiba said, seeing the now black-haired boy's behavior. Issei, come back to reality. You're my best friend and I won't let anyone touch my family, he said as he ran towards Issei, who was looking in Rias' direction. He got angry and dodged it while easily breaking the sword with his gauntlet and then punched Kiba in the stomach, leaving him on the ground. He takes a little distance and then starts running towards Kiba with bad intentions. Issei were Kiba's last words before falling unconscious and being eliminated. Senpai, said Kaneko, who was on her knees looking at Issei, only for him to give her a tremendous kick to the jaw, knocking her out of the fight. Ice-gun, what's wrong with you? Will you go back to normal or else? Akino didn't finish speaking because Issei had already stood behind her and grabbed her right arm as if he were hugging her waist. Or else what a dirty fall, said Issei, while Akino was left in shock as Issei turned her around, pulling her arm and giving her a very powerful knee to the face. It's definitely Loki controlling him, said Zenobia, since she was the only one left besides Asia and Rias. That's right, Isen would never be bad, Asia said, unaware that she had dug her own grave. At that moment, Issei, truly enraged, goes and delivers a tremendous knee strike to Asia's stomach, causing her to spit out a lot of blood. Issei then separates himself and leaps, striking her with a knee to the head. All of this was seen by a very angry Zenobia, who no longer cared who was standing in front of her. Damn you! She screamed euphorically, her anger reflected on her face as she went to attack Issei with X-Durandal. He simply stopped the sword and kicked her in the stomach, causing her to fall to the ground with half her body bent. Taking advantage of this, Issei grabbed Zenobia's head and placed it under his groin, holding both her arms as he let himself fall forcefully. Issei, stop, you're not like this, you'd never be mean to us, your family, Rias said, badly injured as she turned to face the crowd. Help me bring the Oppai dragon back. Everyone shout Oppai Oppai. Rias yelled, watching as the children, teenagers, and adults chanted Op. Come on, Issei, come back to us, we're your family, Rias said, pushing Issei to the breaking point as he unleashed a powerful red and green aura, destroying everything in its path. A family, as far as I know, families don't humiliate each other, call each other useless, and much less mistreat each other, Issei said, looking at Rias, who understood that everything was her fault. A family treats each other well, supports each other, and above all appreciates the effort of others, and you didn't do that. I took all the blame for that battle with Seryorg. I took all the insults. I took the dishonor of losing like the Red Dragon. Understand, Rias, you caused all of this. You said that the weak are useless in this world. That means you're all useless. You admitted that I'm stronger than you and you're all weak. Someone strong like me doesn't deserve to be with trash like you. This is goodbye, Gremory, he said as he ran off and saw Rias crying. Far from caring, he punched her in the stomach, knocking the wind out of her and sending her to her knees, prompting Issei to kick her in the jaw. Then when she was about to fall, Issei picked her up to hold her and do the same to her as he did to Akino. Then he did the same to her as he did to Zenobia, and before she fell, he grabbed her and put her under his crotch and let himself fall with great force. Finally, he lifted it up a little to give it his favorite finish. You will be worthy of being the victim of my powerful curb stomp, he said, lifting her up a little, taking a step back, and then returning to deliver his finishing stomp on the sidewalk. They all witnessed how the Red Dragon Emperor betrayed those who gave him a second chance at life, how he betrayed his family, and above all how he betrayed the Gremory family and all the children who admired him. Good work, kid, said Rizvim, looking at Issei, who was just staring hatefully at the place where Rias had disappeared. It's nothing, sir, I'm capable of anything to bring them down, he said as they disappeared into a magic circle. And the winner of that duel was Rizvim Livan Lucifer. That day the reign of Sirzechs Lucifer ended, while that of Risebim Liven Lucifer had begun. This is only the beginning of the end. End of Life 1.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.